2:00 last Tuesday morning, I sent a text. It wasn't anything dramatic, just 2 words. You okay? We had storms moving through, the kind that wake you up, the kind that make you reach for your phone before you're fully conscious, because something in you needs to know that the people you love are accounted for. I waited for the 3 dots. And in those few seconds, you know the ones, there's this feeling. It doesn't have a name exactly. It's not quite fear. It's more like the moment just before you know. That held breath, the stillness while the world catches up to your worry. The answer came back. I'm fine, Mama. Go back to sleep. And I did, because that is how it's supposed to work. Now, imagine that feeling, that 2 a.m., 3 dots, held breath feeling. Wasn't about the weather. Last Wednesday night, April 15th, 2026, police responded to a bomb threat on a residential street in New Lenox, Illinois, 40 miles southwest of Chicago. The kind of town you drive through, the kind of neighborhood where people know each other's dogs, where the streets are quiet on a Wednesday night. The threat was called in against a private residence. Police established a perimeter. Surrounding homes were evacuated. Bomb-sniffing canine units were deployed. Neighbors stood on their lawns in the dark, wondering what was happening on their street. No explosives were found. No one was hurt. The threat was determined to be unsubstantiated. But here's what I want you to hold on to. Before this was a news story, before it was a headline, it was someone's Wednesday night. The man who lives in that house is named John Prevost. He is a retired Catholic school principal. He is someone's neighbor. He is someone's friend. Every morning, he plays Wordle with his brother. His brother is Pope Leo XIV, born Robert Prevost, raised in Dolton, Illinois, South Suburb, Chicago kid, the first American pope in the history of the Catholic Church. And 3 days before someone called in a bomb threat to John Prevost's home, the President of the United States went on social media and told the world he likes the other brother better. I'm not going to tell you the bomb threat is connected to that post. The investigation is ongoing. No connection has been established. And I will not tell you something is true before it is documented. That's not what we do here. But I am going to ask you a question. Just one question, and I want you to keep it. Write it down if you need to. Put it somewhere you'll see it. Because this question, this one question, is going to change the way you watch the news. Not what to think, how to look. Here's what I know from experience, and I mean that personally, not professionally. This administration and its loyalists understand something that most people don't want to believe. Information is not neutral. It can be deployed. It can be timed. It can be aimed. And the most effective way to aim it is not the target. They go after the pressure point. The person who didn't choose this. The person without protection. The neighbor who just wants to play Wordle in the morning and go about his life. Not the governor, his kid. Not the senator, his wife. Not the pope, his brother. And here's the other thing they understand. They don't have to coordinate it. You just have to name the target out loud to an audience that is already primed to act, already angry, already looking for somewhere to point it. The information is the weapon. The ecosystem pulls the trigger. This has a name in academic and policy literature. It's called stochastic terrorism. The word stochastic means random, unpredictable at the individual level. You can't predict which person in the audience will act, but you can predict, statistically, reliably, that someone will. No fingerprints, no direct order, no smoking gun. Just a retired school principal standing in his yard at night, watching the police search his home. I want to show you how this works in practice, and I want to use an example that is fully documented, public record, no inference required. You probably know Tim Walz, former vice presidential candidate, governor of Minnesota, Midwest guy, high school teacher, football coach, National Guard, about as plain-spoken as they come. In the fall of 2025, Walz announced he would seek a third term as governor. He was the front runner. No serious primary challenge. Expected to win. Here's what happened next. And I want you to watch the sequence. December 2025, the Trump administration begins targeting Minnesota's Somali community. Federal agents arrive in Minneapolis. A conservative content creator releases a YouTube video alleging fraud at Somali-run daycare centers. The evidence is thin. The spread is immediate. The federal government freezes child care funding for the entire state within days. Walz pushes back. Hard. He calls it a show. He calls it an assault on his state. He and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey become the loudest Democratic voices against the administration's ICE operations. January 2026, ICE agents shoot and kill 2 people in Minnesota. Renee Good, Alex Peretti. Walz calls it what it is. January 5th, 2026, Tim Walz announces he will not seek re-election. The DOJ subpoenas him. March 2026, he is called before the House Oversight Committee. Now, the fraud at the center of all this? It was real, some of it, and it was already being prosecuted. The indictments came in 2022, under the Biden administration. The cases were moving through the courts. This was not a discovery. This was a deployment. What was happening right before this became the story? A governor was calling federal agents a campaign of organized brutality. 2 people were dead on the streets of his state. And he was the loudest voice they needed to quiet. I want to be honest with you about something. I'm not giving you anything you don't already have. The ability to look at a sequence of events and ask, what came first? You were born with that. You use it every day. When something feels off, when the story you're being told doesn't quite match the story you're living, when you catch yourself wondering if you're seeing the whole picture, that instinct is not paranoia. That is critical thinking, and it belongs to you. What this series is going to do over the next several weeks is give that instinct a framework, a vocabulary, some documented examples that let you see that mechanism clearly enough to recognize it the next time it appears, because it will appear again. We're going to look at how personal information becomes a weapon aimed at the people power can't directly touch. We're going to look at how legitimate investigations get deployed as political tools. We're going to look at the witnesses who stopped talking and the candidates who never ran. And we're going to look at the people who looked anyway, who stayed anyway, who said, "We do not consent to this." Because here is what the noise is designed to make you forget. You still have agency, not in spite of all this, in the middle of it. The tools are yours. They always were. I'm Sarah Grey. This is Ethos Trek. Educational, informational, no spin. Next time on Look Again, we're going to stay right here, in the neighborhood, in the family, and we're going to look at how ordinary people become targets and why that is not an accident. Until then, look again. Inform, think, act.